He had this sense of hope and belief in the fundamental good of human beings, and this kind of wonder that he looked at everything, something that people would perceive as beautiful, something that people would perceive as broken, he looked at with the same kind of wonder. And so that was a lovely starting point for the character, you know?
As somebody that was born and raised in LA, that grew up loving film, especially noirs, Sugar is the perfect show for me. John Sugar has so many complicated layers to his character, and he's a part of the mystery himself. Did you know all of Sugar's story going into the series before you read the script? And what attracted you to the project?
That's the best stuff that anyone said about it yet to me, man. I've talked to countless people, because just saying that you're from LA and that we did all right and the presentation of your city of birth was okay with you, honestly, that's the coolest thing that could possibly be said about the show. I was looking for something to do here, man. I've made this my home for 20 years now, and I get tired of leaving my family and friends and stuff, while being aware of how keenly fortunate I am to have work to go to. Gets a bit tiring. So I was looking for something here, and then this came on board, and it wasn't just that LA was a backdrop, it was such a prominent character, this city, and all facets of this city. I mean, it's such a kaleidoscopic experience of a place. You know, there's so much wealth, there's so much poverty, there's so much homelessness, there's so much decadence, there's so much that happens behind the scenes. There's so much music, there's so much food, there's so much surfing, there's so much prayer. It's so busy, this place. And so I thought that it was a really beautiful look at this town, a town that I will not claim to fully understand at all, ever, you know? And that was one of the most attractive things about it for me. Another thing, just selfishly, singularly, the character of John Sugar, who was obviously a private detective. The show has bent towards the noir sensibility and tone, but unlike the majority of characters in noir pieces that I've seen, he wasn't hard-boiled, he wasn't jaded, he wasn't kind of cynical in any way. He had this sense of hope and belief in the fundamental good of human beings, and this kind of wonder that he looked at everything, something that people would perceive as beautiful, something that people would perceive as broken, he looked at with the same kind of wonder. And so that was a lovely starting point for the character, you know?
That's absolutely brilliant. Listen, I'm born and raised here, and I'm still trying to figure LA out, Colin.
Sure,
so
man.
I totally feel you on that.
I get it.
Now, I want to talk about your approach to the role, because your character is Sugar's a cinephile. Did you study more detective noir films, or did you kind of research and talk to real PIs and kind of go that route, or a mixture of both?
No, I've been lucky through the years to, you know, if you do research on a particular occupation and you talk to somebody who lives in that and with that occupation, you're still talking to a personality. They may be doing a job, but it's still the most essential aspect of that. So that could lead you down wherever it leads you. But I have been fortunate enough through the years, whether it was a little bit on True Detective or quite a lot on Miami Vice. I've spoken to a lot of detectives. I've spoken to a lot of undercover operatives through the years. So all that stuff still bleeds in. Everything you do bleeds into everything you do, you know? But I did use this opportunity to dive into film noir and dive into particularly, you know, there were things I had seen years ago that I rewatched, like The Big Sleep or Maltese Falcon is Hard to Beat. And then there was things I had never seen, like Farewell My Lovely or Murder My Sweet. And I was in heaven, really. So my job is to watch as many film noirs as possible. It was kind of cool.
I love seeing Sugar and Melanie together. Amy Ryan is fantastic in the role of Melanie. What did she bring to the role that wasn't on the page?
She's just the best, man. I just adore Amy. She she brings more than anything is just honesty. I just don't think she's just not tricksy. She does her prep. God knows she does her prep, but she just brings, there's just not a dishonest bone in her body. And she just brings that to the work. I just sitting across from her and doing scenes, and she just brings you into the present. Just brings you into the present, you know, with her abundant honesty and truth. I loved working with her. And the characters, those two characters, there was a world where certain people were kind of trying to campaign for them being romantically involved. And me and Amy were just like, wouldn't it be more interesting and more truthful if they could just be friends, like really friends? Two lonely people who find a friendship where sex doesn't come into it, sensuality doesn't come into it. It's there at the start a little bit, it's flirted with, but under extenuating circumstances. And so I just loved sharing this story with her. You know, it was an honor to go to work with her.
Look, I can't wait for people to see this show, and especially that there's a big giant twist that I'm not going to spoil, but oh my God, it's good. Thank you so much, Colin.
Thanks,
I
man.
appreciate your time, brother.
Thanks, brother. You too. All the best.